Absolutely, yes.
Great. Hello and welcome to Global Investment Real Estate and Residency Show Phase 3. This exclusive event is brought to you by TEG Group, a company that organizes live and online events. I'm director and co-founder and a part of this exceptional team. My name is Abdul Basit and I'm your host this evening. By the end of this webinar, you will know how to invest securely in Grenada to get citizenship and how can it pave your way to E2 Visa USA. We have been joined by industry-leading company Aura Caribbean, who will guide us with the best options and process. Aura Caribbean is a part of Aura Developers, has a proven track record of creating beautiful environments that balance exceptional thinking and enduringly sensitive design. Aura Caribbean's first luxury resort in Grenada opened in December, 1st of December 2018 to be exact, with a prominent location on one of the world's most magnificent beaches. Please feel free to ask your questions in Q&A section at the bottom of your screen or in the chat section of YouTube. We'll answer all your questions after the presentation. With that, I would like to introduce the speaker of this evening, Mr. Richard Hallam, representing Aura Caribbean. Richard is a dual citizen of Grenada and Great Britain. His 30 years of work experience has taken him to every continent, but his home for last 15 years is on the Caribbean island of Grenada. Originally a hotelier, Richard branched out into development, real estate, and more recently, business advisory. He has played a multifaceted role in the development scene of Grenada, working initially in the acquisition and development of the multi-use projects, and later with government and developers in the creation of Grenada's CBI program as a special advisor to the Inward Investment Office. Richard has seen a Caribbean CBI program from concept to operation. He is an approved marketing agent of the Grenada CBI program, and with his direct insider on island knowledge and close working relationship with all major developers and local agents, he currently holds the position of CBI Director of Aura Caribbean Developers of Silver Sand, Grenada. Hello, Richard. How are you doing today?
Morning, Abdul. Very well, thank you. Stunning introduction, as always.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm actually looking forward to your stunning presentation.
Thank you. Well, it's I've got a lot of pictures, hopefully, so I can really give people an idea of what Grenada is about and where we are. I've got the map behind me, so let me see. So we're oh, it's going to disappear. We're currently there we are. We can try and get that right. Just about there. There we are. That's where I am. That's where I am today, in the southern Caribbean. Miami is just a little further north up here. Yes. And then obviously in between North and South America. So it's a beautiful day today, beautiful summer's day, as it is most of the days of the year in Grenada, as I'm sure it is with you as well in Dubai.
Great. Yeah, it is. It is very hot, very sunny here. I don't want to say much about Dubai weather right now, but it is great. We'll start with the presentation.
Thank you. Yeah, as I said, I've got about 30 slides. I try not to give too much information because I think it can be a bit of an overload. Obviously, we have a website, which is auracaribbean.com, which I would encourage people to look at and visit after the presentation. And then, of course, I will stay on with you at the conclusion to answer questions that anybody may have and queries that people may want to ask about the program. So I'm going to share the screen now, so I'll disappear. And I'll pull up the slideshow. Okay, so good evening to everybody in India. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope I'm not taking up too much of your evening, and I will try to make this presentation brief but concise and give you the information that you need to know. As you just saw, I am currently in Grenada. We are in the southern Caribbean. Looks like a long way away in terms of distance, but from India, you would be here in 2 flights. You would fly to London and then you would fly direct London to Grenada. So coming to us, you could probably get here in a day. Going back, it might take a little longer, but we are obviously in the West Indies. So we do have very close ties to India. A lot of our nationals have Indian heritage. Our culture, our food, and our traditions are also heavily influenced by the Indian cultures, foods, and traditions as well. So I'm here to talk to you today not only about the Grenada Citizenship by Investment Program, but a specific development and a specific developer by the name of Aura Caribbean. We like to think that Grenada, in terms of choices in the Caribbean, is the discerning choice, is the more boutique choice in terms of a citizenship. We are not a program that heavily advertises. We're not a program that heavily markets. We like to think that people come and find us. They hear about Grenada, they hear about the country, the people, and our reputation. And then with regards to Aura Caribbean, we have tried to develop a program which I think you will see is incredibly investor friendly. It gives you a very clear and defined exit strategy and basically helps you in your quest to either become a Grenada citizen and then eventually become a resident living and working in the United States, if that is your eventual option. So as we just saw on the map, I'm right here now down in Grenada, as you can see there, where the cursor is. Miami is here. We have daily flights from Miami. It's about 3 hours. We also have daily flights from New York. It takes about 4 hours. We are a former British colony, now an independent Commonwealth country. We are comprised of 3 islands, which is Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. And we have a population of just 110,000 people. So we're one of the smallest islands in the world. As we discussed a little bit earlier with Abdul, very safe and very secure country, very friendly country. We have very, very little crime in Grenada. And as I said, we have a fantastic international airport, which is one of the longest and largest in the Caribbean, with regular direct service to London, New York, Miami, Atlanta, Toronto, and Frankfurt. So Grenada is as you know, a Caribbean country, and Caribbean countries can be kind of divided up into 2 topographies. One is kind of flat, coral, reef with very little relief, such as Barbados and the Bahamas, and the others, such as Grenada and St. Kitts, St. Lucia, have beautiful beaches, very tall mountains, a rainforest, climate up in the mountains, rivers and waterfalls. These are some of the snapshots of Grenada there, a typical beach, one of our beautiful waterfalls that you can jump in and swim. We have the world's first underwater statue park with about 30 statues that were sunk and now act as part of a reef attracting marine life. And the top picture there is actually St. George's University, which we'll touch on a little later. So to Grenada and the passport, why would you consider Grenadian citizenship? Grenada currently has visa-free and visa on arrival travel to over 140 countries throughout the world, including all of the Schengen countries, uniquely including China. We're one of only 6 countries in the world that have visa-free access to China, Brazil, Russia, United Arab Emirates, and a host of other countries that you can access visa-free without the need for sending your passport to an embassy and waiting to get your visa granted. We're the only Caribbean citizenship by investment country with a United States E2 visa treaty. And the E2 visa basically allows you to live and work in the United States as long as you manage and operate a viable business. Now, that business can be one of your own choosing. It could be, for example, a hair salon or a nail salon or a coffee shop. It could be a franchise, such as a pizza place, a Starbucks, or a garage. The visa applications are done through the local embassy in the country in which you reside, and not through the United States Customs and Immigration Service. The average investment value for the E2 visa is about $100,000, which would qualify for a small franchise investment. You can invest larger amounts. You are able to bring your own business ideas if you have something that you wish to do yourself. And you can also invest in specific business models that have been set up with the purpose of assisting people into E2 and into the United States. Approval can be very fast, in as little as 3 months. And it would enable you and your family and your children under 21 at school age to live and reside in the US as long as you maintain the business in the US. If, for example, you already have a successful company outside of the US, then your spouse could have the visa in her name. You could still visit the country up to 180 days a year without becoming a US person, and therefore don't fall into the US tax net. The visa is renewable every 5 years as long as the business is viable. So you could literally live and work and stay in the United States for as long as you wished. This is because you are a Grenadian citizen. So the first step is to become a Grenadian citizen. The second step is to apply for the E2 visa. You are able to do both of these within the space of 6 months, with an investment amount as little as $150,000 inclusive of everything. So I won't go too much more into E2. We can discuss it later if you have questions after the end of the presentation, because it is quite a complex process, and with an E2 visa you would need to work with a US immigration attorney in order to be able to assist you with that, of which we can recommend a number. So other than the E2 visa, Grenada also offers some fantastic tertiary education choices. The University of the West Indies is the largest long-standing higher education provider in the English-speaking Caribbean, with over 45,000 students over 4 campuses. And in Grenada, we have St. George's University. We have around now 8,000 medical, veterinary, and MBA students and faculty from over 114 countries. This is the campus. It's a stunning 40-acre site. Who wouldn't want to study here? It's accredited as having, there are more SGU qualified doctors in the US than any other medical institution in the Americas. 1 in every 13 doctors in New York qualified in Grenada, and I think 1 in every 100 doctors in the United States qualified here in Grenada. It has the highest MCAT pass rate of any university in the Americas, so it's very, very highly regarded. And as a Grenadian citizen, you would be eligible for certain scholarships if you wished your children to attend this university to study medical, veterinary, or other MBA faculties. So Grenada itself, as we mentioned, is Commonwealth of Nations. We are a democratically elected government every 5 years. Our Court of Appeal is the Privy Council in the United Kingdom. We touched on the crime rate, which is very, very low, virtually non-existent. Our currency is the Eastern Caribbean dollar, which has been tied to the US dollar for the past 40 years now. There are a lot of business opportunities in Grenada. We are quite a young country in terms of our development or our modern development. Obviously, we are a tourist-based country, so there is a myriad opportunities in the tourism industry. We also have a very large agricultural industry. We are known as the Spice Isle. So we do cultivate, grow, and export such things as nutmeg, cinnamon, mace, ginger, bananas, soursop. So quite a large agricultural industry. In fact, it was the agricultural industry was the dominant industry in Grenada before tourism hit. And as we already touched on, the education that you are available to get here in terms of SGU and UWI is second to none. So talk a little bit about Aura Caribbean. We've covered Grenada and why Grenada might be the best choice for you in terms of your next citizenship. So Aura Caribbean are a development company owned by a gentleman by the name of Naguib Sawiris. Mr. Sawiris is a very well-known international businessman. I believe he is a billionaire in terms of his wealth. He owns the 3rd largest cable news network in the world, Euronews. So if you turn on your TVs and you see Euronews, that is his channel. And he owns the 5th largest telecommunications company in the world, which is Orascom. So he's a very affluent individual, very influential individual. And about 5-6 years ago, he came to Grenada, fell in love with the country, saw the investment opportunities that were available, and decided to invest in the growth and expansion in the tourism industry in Grenada. The first project that we did is Silver Sands Grenada. I invite you to go to the website. It's a stunning property, www.silversandsgrenada.com. It's a beautiful hotel and villa resort. We have 43 rooms and 8 beautiful turnkey villas. And it is phase 1 of a 5-phase development plan that we have in Grenada. We want to construct 500 hotel rooms over 5 separate sites, which involves about 2 million square feet of prime real estate. This gives you a little idea. If you go back to the map that we spoke of, Grenada there in the lower Caribbean, that is a close-up of Grenada as a country. Our 2 other islands, Carriacou and Petit Martinique, are just off here. All the developments of Aura Caribbean are based down here in the south of the country. This is where our international airport is, right down here in the tip. Silver Sands is right here. This is the property that we finished just recently. Our next property that we're going to discuss is Beach House, which is down here in this beautiful little cove. And then we have 3 other properties: Silver Sands Legacy, Riviera, and Port Louis. And these are all projects that we currently own the land for and are currently in the process of developing with and without the Citizenship by Investment program. So this is an aerial view, an unedited aerial view of Silver Sands, Grenada. This is the property that Abdul mentioned that we finished in 2018. This is the property that you would come and stay at if you decided to come and visit Grenada and see what we're doing. As he mentioned, it is on the beautiful Grandance beach. Grandance is a 2.5-kilometer beach, often voted one of the top beaches in the world, certainly one of the top 3 beaches in the Caribbean. It is a 43-room hotel. We have an amazing 100-meter infinity pool that stretches the length of the resort. Beautiful spa, restaurant, and then we have these amazing hillside and beachfront villas right on the water. So you wake up in the morning, step out of your bedroom, and you're right up on the beach. So that is a property that we built and developed without CBI. But we were approached early, let me think now, last year, just as COVID was beginning to grow, approached by the government and asked if we would include one of our future developments in the Citizenship by Investment program. So we decided to get together and put our thinking hats on and come up with a program that we felt we were comfortable with, that the government would be comfortable with, and that most of all, the investors would be comfortable with. So I think that's a picture that I took. That is the view of the pool, looking down from the reception, looking out over the Caribbean at Silver Sands. So Beach House. Beach House is the second project of Aura Caribbean. We broke ground in March. We're currently undergoing civil works, so infrastructure and groundworks, and then we expect vertical construction to start at the end of this year. Beach House is an approved development of the Grenada Citizenship by Investment program. It is going to be a luxury boutique property. It's going to have just 31 rooms, so it's a relatively small property in terms of its build, in terms of its cost, and we felt that it was the right property to introduce to the CBI program and see if it was popular, if people were interested in investing in it, and if we could go to market and encourage people to invest with us and obviously obtain Grenada citizenship that way. So this is an artist rendering of the site itself, actually superimposed onto a picture. So the picture is genuine. The hotel rooms that you see here have been superimposed over the top. So as I mentioned, just 31 rooms, a very simple design, beautiful tented canopy style architectural features, a central restaurant with a beautiful spa. This is the master plan that you can see now. Here is the beachfront, the restaurant that we spoke about, the arrival area and reception, some beautiful hotel rooms right on the water there. And then as you wind up the hillside, all of these rooms with amazing views over the Caribbean Sea, which is all around you. Again, this is an artist's rendering, if you like, an aerial shot from behind, looking back over the Caribbean Sea with the arrival buildings, the hillside villas, and the beachfront suites. This is a shot of how the restaurant will look right on the water there, Italian-themed restaurant. This is a typical beachfront suite You wake up in the morning and that would be your view of the Caribbean Sea. So this, as I mentioned, is an approved project of the Grenada Citizenship by Investment Program. Construction started in March. It is anticipated that construction will finish late next year with an opening of Christmas of 2022. So it's a quick project to build. It's a relatively inexpensive project to build. Silver Sands was constructed in 24 months. We envisage 18 months of a build time for this property, which is significantly smaller. And because it is such a small property, we only have a limited amount of investment opportunities, which we feel we will sell out of quite quickly, which will then enable us to build the property very quickly, have it open and successful. So the difference, why are Aura Caribbean different from any other developer in the Caribbean? What makes what we're trying to offer so special? And it's quite simple, and I hope you'll see the simplicity of it. We believe that when the citizenship program in Grenada was created, it was created to offer a tertiary source of funding for developers who were desirous of creating hospitality product in Grenada, because Grenada needs hotel rooms. And when you get more hotel rooms, you get more airlift from the airlines. And with more airlift comes more tourists, and more tourists comes more money, and so on and so forth. So originally when the CBI program was put together, it was supposed to be as an alternative source of funding your development. So if you couldn't borrow it, if you couldn't get investors, if the bank was charging too much money, then you could apply to have your project approved under the Citizenship by Investment Program, and then you are able to offer investment opportunities to people like yourselves. And with that investment opportunity, those people were able to apply for Grenadian citizenship. So with that being in mind, with that perspective, Aura Caribbean decided that we wanted to honor the original intention of the program and use your funds, your investment funds, as a short-term construction loan, which basically means that when you invest in Aura Caribbean, the funds are immediately put into a construction escrow account, and they are used exclusively and wholly for the construction of the property. And then there is a 5-year government mandated holding period. At the end of the 5-year period, Aura Caribbean will return your original investment amount. The investment amount currently in Grenada is $220,000. So you will invest $220,000. There are some government costs that are attached with that, depending on the size of your family. At the end of the 5 years, you get your $220,000 refunded back to you. And we think that that is not only unique in the Caribbean, we think that it gives you an excellent exit strategy. You get your investment money back, and that takes the net cost of your citizenship down to an amount which we feel is incredibly competitive in the industry, and something that you as an investor will be very happy with. So in a nutshell, it's a transparent, a risk-free, secure, 100% buyback of your original investment amount. So you purchase your interest at 220,000, and you receive 220,000 back at the end of a 5-year holding period. What that would look like in a typical cost calculator, if you like, for a family of 4 with 2 young children is as follows. So the cost of the investment, which is a shareholding in the development company. The development company owns the land. The development company will own the building, and you will be a shareholder in that company. The cost of that share, which is mandated by the government, is $220,000. The additional costs, as you see there, are government fees, due diligence fees, processing and application fees, share registration fees, which is a third-party cost of managing your original share interest, and then the divestment of that share after the 5 years, your passport fees, the oath of allegiance, which is something that you pledge when you become a Grenadian citizen. So you're looking at a total cost for a family of 4 of under $300,000, of which $220,000 will be returned to you at the end of a 5-year holding period, which gives you a net cost of just over $18,000 per person. Coupled with that, if you then decide to go to the E2 route, you can see that for a family of 4, to be able to become a Grenadian citizen, to be able to apply for the E2, you'll have a total cost of under $180,000, all told, and hopefully a processing time of no more than 6 months for your Grenadian citizenship and your E2. So to summarize, and I know I've kind of given a lot of information to you here, and I hope it isn't too much, but as always, you will be able to contact me directly after this session. You will be able to reach out to me independently via email or WhatsApp if you are interested in pursuing your Grenadian citizenship application. But in a nutshell, Aura Caribbean are offering what I think is an unrivaled investment return. There's nobody else in the Caribbean that is going to give you your full investment amount back. We are a company that has had previous Caribbean development experience. We have built and are currently operating a hotel in Grenada called Silver Sands. We are the only developer, CBI developer in Grenada that is operating a hotel that they've built. We have an international development portfolio. So Aura Caribbean is the sister property of Aura Developers. And Aura Developers have projects in Cyprus, they have projects in Greece, they have projects in Egypt, and they have projects in Pakistan. And I would also encourage you to visit their website as well, auradevelopers.com, so you can understand what the parent company of Aura Caribbean are doing. And we've been in the investment and development forum for many years. So we have a local Caribbean and an international development portfolio. We are operating a Caribbean resort, as I already mentioned. So we have experience in building a Grenada. We have experience in operating in Grenada. Our construction is not dependent on CBI sales. We were never intending to offer our developments to the CBI program. It was something that was requested of us. So regardless of the sales and the investments that are made by clients, by investors wishing to get their citizenship, the construction of Beach House will continue regardless, and we will be opening for Christmas of next year. In saying that, we roughly have around 75% of the shares currently allocated. So I would envisage that by the end of the summer, the share allocation that we are allowed to offer will be 100% full, and the program will at that point be closed. We are a very financially secure company. Silver Sands was built with about $120 million of our own funds, without any bank debt, any tertiary investors or loans. Mr. Sawiris, as we've already mentioned, is on Forbes top 50 rich list every year. So he himself is very affluent. We have a property in Silver Sands that will be turning over $3-4 million a year. And then we will have a property in Beach House that will be turning over $1-1.5 million a year. And those funds will enable us to return the investments to you at the end of the 5 years. And any shortfall will be underwritten by the parent company and by Mr. Sawiris himself. I think it's important to know that we're not a CBI developer, and that is what differentiates us from everybody else. And what I mean by that is we are not here to profit from the CBI program. We are not here to profit from your $220,000 investment. Our goal is to have 500 hotel rooms in Grenada, and then when those 500 hotel rooms are operating, and maybe they're bringing $500 a night, so $250,000 a day, $60-70 million a year. That is the company's long-term goal. We're not interested in making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 off you, the investor. So every penny of your $220,000 is put into the development, is put into the construction. Any costs of marketing and sales of your investment is borne by the developer and not by you. And I think that's a very large distinction between Aura Caribbean and a lot of the other developers in the CBI industry. And I think that's it. As I said, I see there's a number of questions coming in. I'm going to close the slideshow down right now and give people the opportunity to ask any questions. I hope I can answer to them. Thank you for your patience. I hope I didn't overwhelm you with information. And obviously, and always, both myself and Abdul are here to help you, guide you, answer your questions, and facilitate you the best way we can. So thank you again. And obviously, thank you, Abdul and TEG, for allowing us this platform to get our message out to those people in India that may be looking at second citizenship and how they would go about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. It is pleasure working with you, and welcome for your remarks. We are definitely here to answer all the questions right now or later, whenever you have any. So please feel free to contact me or Richard later on directly, and we'll be happy to assist you with that. Richard, we do have a few questions if you're ready.
Absolutely. I saw them coming in. So when I see questions, I know I'm doing a good job.
You are always doing a good job. Okay, so the first question we have here is that if one is living in US on E2 visa, then the kids schooling in public schools is free or chargeable.
My understanding is it varies from state to state. Obviously, I mean, once you start looking at the E2 visa, you really need to engage the services of a US immigration attorney, because they are the people that are familiar with it, and they are the people that will assist you and guide you in the process. But I've obviously been processing or assisting people with E2 for a number of years now. So the information that I understand is that you can, your children can attend public schools without a charge. But it does depend on the state. I think those decisions are state to state decisions. So when you do decide that you are going to invest in E2, it would be probably wise to speak to an immigration attorney and find out which states offer the free education. So then you can start looking at business opportunities in those states.
Great, thank you so much. The next question we have is, does Grenada support IT-based businesses in the country?
I mean, yeah, I think Grenada supports any businesses or any people that are looking to establish businesses here. We have some very large call centers in Grenada. We do have some IT companies. The internet and the infrastructure in Grenada, I think, is very good. We have 4G LTE service. The telephone service is great. The internet speeds are great. So that there is a small but quite active IT industry in Grenada, and I'm sure that if people wanted to come and grow that and help expand it in the Caribbean basin, then they'd be most welcome.
Great. One more question: is USA visa free on Grenada?
I don't think any country has visa free to the US anymore, with the exception of maybe Canada. Yes. So every country, even UK, needs some level of visa in order to access the US. A Grenadian citizen, you can get a 10-year multiple entry visa once you have your passport, or obviously, as we've discussed, you can apply to the E2, and that will give you a multiple entry residency permit.
Great. One more question. Good evening. Can you please clarify the process of applying for E2? How long will it take from Grenada citizenship granted?
My understanding is if you invest in one of the already packaged investment opportunities, so there are companies that have franchises that you can just invest in and they manage it on your behalf. The process is quite simple. It's about the same as applying for Grenada citizenship. It takes about 3 months. It is a relatively simple process, my understanding is. Obviously, if you have your own business idea or you have a very specific thing that you want to invest in, this may take a little bit more time, as you may need to buy real estate, you have to establish the company, et cetera, et cetera. But if you buy into one of the SPVs, the specific purpose vehicles that are set up for E2 investment, the whole process should take no more than 90 to 100 days.
Good. What are the taxes for Indian nationals?
If you become a Grenadian citizen, you are only eligible to pay tax on income derived in Grenada. So you would only pay if you are a Grenadian citizen applying from India, and you become a citizen of Grenada, as long as you're not operating or owning businesses in Grenada, as long as you're not deriving any income out of Grenada, then Grenada doesn't have any tax treaties with India. So the income that you earned outside of Grenada would be entirely up to you to tax in the jurisdiction that you would be working in.
Great. What is the cost of E2 application?
Well, there is no set cost of an E2 application. There is a suggested, the language actually talks about a significant investment, but doesn't specify. I know of clients that have applied for as little as $100,000, $150,000. But I also know of clients that have invested significantly more because they're investing in a business that is providing them with a very attractive yield of maybe 15 to 18% per annum. So I think the more you invest, the more attractive your return may be. The smaller your investment, you're probably looking at managing a franchise such as maybe a Starbucks or a gas station or a salon or a pizzeria, something like that.
Great, great. Yeah, it all depends on what kind of business it is.
It depends on the business that you want to invest in, and whether it's a business that is kind of like a prefab business, and it also depends on how involved in the business you want to be, what kind of a return you're looking to get.
True. Another question we have here is that does that mean I will lose my Indian citizenship?
Well, my understanding is that India does not allow second citizenship. And so it would be down to the individual investor to decide whether or not they were going to give up their Indian citizenship or not. There are a number of countries in the world, China is one of them, that do not allow second citizenships. But it's not heavily enforced. So it's a decision that you as an applicant would need to make on whether you're actually going to renounce your Indian citizenship. I believe there's something called, is it an IBC, Abdul, is that correct? Indian Overseas Visa?
Yes, there is a overseas card, I think, that Indian nationals get, on which they can travel to India anytime, even after renouncing their current citizenship.
Yeah, so I mean, you are able. So my understanding is, if you did decide to renounce, you would still be able to travel back and forth to India, but on this Indian Overseas National Card. If you didn't renounce your citizenship, obviously that is a decision you are making based on your understanding of Indian law at that time. I can tell you some people do, but some people do not. So the law, as I understand it, and you would probably know better, being in India, is that India is not a country that allows second citizenships, but at the same time, I do not believe it is heavily enforced.
Great. Okay, we are still getting questions, so you are definitely doing good, Richard. How buyback guarantee works with legal papers and accountable Indian representative?
We do have representatives in India. We do have people that are based in India that you can talk to that can assist you with this process. The buyback works very simply in that there are legal agreements between yourself and the developer. You are investing in what's called a Class B redeemable share. It is Class B because basically a Class B share does not give you any liabilities of the company. So there would be no capital calls. You wouldn't have to pay any more money. If for example, the hotel doesn't make any money, you'd not be liable for that. It is a redeemable share in that it has a fixed 5-year lifespan. At the end of the 5 years, you redeem your share back to the company, and the company returns your original investment amount. And that is a legally binding contract.
Perfect. Thank you so much. The next question is, you mentioned 10,000 due diligence fee. Is it for the whole family?
Due diligence fees vary dependent on age. So there is a base due diligence fee of $5,000 per person for anybody over the age of 17. So if you obviously the main applicant spouse, the $10,000 due diligence is $5,000 per person. If you are under 16, there is no due diligence fee. So it does vary based on the age of the person. So it's an average of about $8,000 per person for due diligence application and processing. But if you have younger children, that fee can be reduced down to as little as $3,000.
Great. Ms. Sapra Mohit is asking 2 questions here. First one is, why won't you pay interest on $220,000 US?
Well, I think first of all, because you're getting it all back and nobody else is offering that. So I think first and foremost, the fact that you're getting the full 220,000 returned to you should be enough of an incentive, as I don't think anybody else in the Caribbean is offering that. Secondly, you do get interest in the way of a week's annual vacation at Silver Sands in Grenada during the 5-year holding period. So there are 35 days over the 5 years that you can come to Grenada. You can spend with your family, and you can stay at the hotel for virtually free, a very nominal cost. And you could argue that there is a value there of $20,000 to $30,000 just in that. So whilst we're not paying any returns, you're getting all your money back. and you are able to come and stay for a week a year.
I'll agree with you, Richard. I have not heard about any other project who is actually buying back after 5 years. The second question that she's asking is, what if USA changes its E2 treaty?
That is, I mean, it's a valid question. Grenada has had a treaty with the US and the E2 since around 1980, I believe. We have the highest tier of E2 treaty in that it's renewable every 5 years as long as you maintain the business. I can't answer that question because it's a big maybe. It's a huge maybe. In order to lose an E2 treaty, you have to abuse the E2 treaty, and Grenada is not in the business of doing that. So I do not believe that is something that is anything that somebody would want to worry about or be concerned. You know, as I said, we've had it for the past, you know, for plus 40 years, yes. And we envisage having it for the long term.
Great. Does Grenada have dual citizenship with India?
Not quite sure what that means.
Grenada allows dual citizenship, but India doesn't.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Grenada. I mean, I for example, have. Obviously, I'm Grenadian. I have Grenadian citizenship, but I also have a UK passport. My children actually have 4 citizenships because they were born in the States. So, you know, my children have US, English, Grenada, and actually through their mother, they have Irish as well. So Grenada does allow multiple citizenships because of who we are, because we have so many, such a mixed diaspora of people in and out of the country, from obviously that have roots in India, that have roots in Africa, that have roots in the UK, that have roots in America. Grenada is a country that allows multiple citizenships.
Great. Another question is it mandatory to stay in Grenada before applying for US E2 visa? If yes, how long?
It's not mandatory. My understanding is it's not mandatory. I would certainly recommend that if you're going to go to the US through the E2 route, there is language in the E2 application that talks about having a tangible nexus to the country. So showing your ties to Grenada. So I think one of the best ways to do that is actually come to the country, make sure that your passport has a Grenada stamp in it. Other ways are you could take a leasehold property here and have a residential address and a utility bill. And you know, there are various other ways that give you a nexus to the country, notwithstanding the fact that you are a shareholder in a Grenadian company that is building a hotel first and foremost. But my understanding is you do not need to visit Grenada in order to apply for E2, but I would certainly recommend it.
Great. What are the tax structures in Grenada?
Well, I mean, my understanding as a Grenadian citizen, you only pay tax on earnings and income derived in Grenada. Those amounts vary, obviously, depending on the business and depending how much you earn. But you would only earn your income on money derived in the country.
True. The next question we have is for E2, I surely need to invest 100,000 to get E2.
There's no specified investment amount. The language in the application form talks about a substantial investment. I am aware of people who have invested between $100,000 and $200,000 in an E2 visa and own a viable business. So it really depends on the business that you invest in and the model that you decide to go with.
Yeah. Okay, one more question. Is it mandatory to invest in business to get USA E2 visa, or can I seek a job in USA on E2 visa?
No, so the E2 visa allows you to own and operate a business that your business in the United States. So you can't get an E2 visa simply by going to work for somebody else. You have to own your own business, operate your own business, and that business has to be substantial enough to be able to keep you cover your costs of living in the country. So you can't get a job in the US on your E2 visa because your E2 visa substantially is your job because you are the business owner.
Great. Just let me add one point here. According to my information, your spouse can actually get a job in USA.
Yes. The person that isn't the visa holder is able to work in the US, and your children are able to go to school.
Exactly. Okay. Do I have to take my funds to Grenada to invest for E2 visa?
No.
No. Simple.
Yeah.
Great.
The investment in the E2 is in a business in the US.
Great. Okay. Will these legal binding documents be registered in India as well?
Well, you will be signing contracts with a Grenadian company under Grenada law, and you will be becoming a Grenada citizen. So that they are registered under Grenada law because the company in which you're investing in is Grenadian, and you will eventually become a Grenadian. So Grenada law would prevail.
Great. Okay, last question here is, what about 150,000 and seen on Grenada official website?
Absolutely. So there are several routes to citizenship. The one that we've discussed here today is the investment route, also known as Section 11, which allows you to invest in a approved development in the country, such as the one that Aura Caribbean is offering. If you wish, there is a donation option, also called the National Transformational Fund, or Section 10, where you donate the money to the government. Those funds go to the Transformational Fund, which is used for infrastructure projects in Grenada. But that money's gone. You lose that money. So you're basically giving $150,000 away. And you can also apply for Grenada citizenship that way.
Great. Thank you so much, Richard. It was definitely a pleasure having you here today and with all this information and answering all these questions. Thank you so much again.
It's always a pleasure, Abdul, and for all of those that tuned in and that are listening, we will be in contact with you. So if you are interested in pursuing your interest in Grenada and in Grenada citizenship and eventually E2, please look out for either an email or a WhatsApp from us, and then obviously we can get in touch and have a much better dialogue.
Great. Thank you so much. And with that, I would just as a last remark, this is the best time to invest. And Grenada, if you're looking for Grenada as your second home, Aura Caribbean is definitely the best option. You will not hear anyone else telling you that they will buy back. So this is the only option you have right now, as per me, to invest in. And I would suggest you to invest right now, so you become a part of it. Otherwise, it will be fully booked, and I don't think there will be slots available after that. So avail this opportunity. Aura Caribbean will get in touch with you. If you have any questions, please feel free to share them with us. We'll share those questions with Richard and his team, and they will be happy to get in touch with you. Anything else? You have our email addresses, or follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and catch up everything that we have upcoming for you. With that, thank you so much. Good night to everyone. Thank you so much.